All right, the inaugural Jimmy V Live first podcast and first season. And this is going to be pretty good for everybody. We're going to do everything. It's not going to be a food safety class. So you guys will definitely get your money's worth here for sure. I want to introduce my co-host because many of you know him. Some of you may not. You guys know me as Jimmy V or Jimmy Vigilante, but here comes Mark Steele. And he's right there. There you go, Mark.
What's going on, Jimmy? How are you today?
Doing great. We're going to have a guest on soon. Okay. And he's going to be on because I know people are waiting to see him. But what I want to do first is there's a lot of people that are saying, you and Mark are doing a lot for the community. You guys are doing something together. And some people are confused. Does Mark work for Jimmy? Does Jimmy work for Mark? Well, let me start out by this. I go ahead and I am JVC food safety specialist. What I do is I actually do food and beverage consultation for all the food and beverage outlets, whether it's mom and pops all the way up to casinos, bars, lounges, you name it. I do front and back of the house training and all. Mark and I combine services, and I'll let Mark take it over from here as far as his RHI and what he does.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jimmy. So, Jimmy and I actually have known each other for a long time. Don't want to date us too much, but we actually opened up Bellagio together back in the day. We both have our own restaurant-adjacent businesses. Mine is called the Restaurant Hospitality Institute. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, and we're actually a state-certified school where we teach restaurant aptitude. Very similar to maybe you'll call it like a culinary school or a dealing school or bartending school, except we train front-of-the-house professionals. And we train everything, and you can kind of see the sign right in the back there. We have all kinds of different subjects that we teach, everything from sanitation, which obviously Jimmy's a specialist in, but we also do just general hospitality. We train food, liquor, beer knowledge. We do general upselling. We do, and obviously service skills as well. So everything under the sun that maybe you might have grown up and fell into the restaurant business and just kind of grown up along the way. We actually have a formal course. It's a 5-week course where you can go through and we teach you everything under the sun. We taste up to 20 different wines. We taste all the spirits. We do sakes. We do beers. And that's been our program for the past few years. We also conduct alcohol awareness training. So some of you might know it as a TAM card training. That is actually a state certification that you need if you're a cashier or if you're a food handler or beverage handler anywhere across the way. You need to have a alcohol awareness card, which certifies you able to actually serve it in the state of Nevada, and we are actually certified to be able to do that. We do also have personal development classes. So if you want to learn about wine or if you want to do the a beer class, and we're actually going to be doing a sake class coming up with UNLV coming up in the next 2 Saturdays from now. But we do everything under the sun. And this is our headquarters right here where I'm sitting. What Jimmy and I have done is over the course of the time, I think all of us in the restaurant business kind of got a little bit of a break. And Jimmy and I touched base maybe we talk to each other all the time, but maybe about a month ago, we touched base and said, what can we actually do to kind of combine forces? Jimmy's known for being, his company is known for being the top sanitation company and sanitation in the entire state of Nevada with the Southern Nevada Health District. And he reached out to me and he said, well, what can we do to kind of combine forces and reach out to the public, reach out to the community, reach out to the industry workers on what we can do to make our, we'll call it the next generation of service coming up in restaurants, what we can do to make the transition a little bit easier. All these restaurants are opening and they have a zillion things going on. It's just like they're reopening a restaurant all over again with all the initial orders and the recipes and the hiring. And so what we did is we actually came up with 3 different new classes that fall under the RHI domain. So you can find them because you can find them on my website, rhinstitute.com, but they're joint forces from Jimmy and I. And the first one is a sanitation class, where it's a sanitation that's mostly focused on the front of the house, to where, if you go get your health card or your Serve Safe, it has a lot to do with the back of the house and food safety sanitation, which is extremely important. But now in this new generation with masks and glove and social distancing, is what are people going to be looking for when they go to a restaurant and seeing all this new generation of service? So, we focus on a lot of the sanitation rules, demerits, regulations. Jimmy is state certified. He gets stuffed email to them all the time about new COVID stuff that's coming out. So it focuses a lot on the COVID and what that has to do with today's generation. And then I go into a big spiel of RHI on how we're going to focus in the front of the house and how we're going to do simple things that should have been taught already, but simple things that guests are going to be looking for on, how to handle glassware. How are you social distancing? How are you taking orders? How are you, because your restaurant can be a COVID hotspot going from one guest to another. Because you're talking to 50, 60 guests on a daily basis. So what can you do to help the prevention of that? The second class is actually a delivery driver service. So people who are actually, your third party Uber and Postmates who are picking up food, and they're picking up your food and dropping it off. Are they trained in sanitation? Are they trained in alcohol awareness? Are they trained in guest service? So that's another class that we offer. And then we have one that really focuses on guest retention and really like the art of service of taking care of your guests. Sadly, a lot of the restaurants aren't going to survive this. So what can you do as far as hospitality is concerned to stand out to your guests, keep them coming back? Because the number one thing that we teach here over at RHI is that the number one upsell that you can make in any restaurant is for your guests to come back.
Okay, see, so that was fantastic. Mark had a great lead in because I know he knows how to explain us. We've done actually quite a bit of, I want to call them donations to the industry because we wanted to help the industry start out, and we did. And I call it reset, and it really went well. I think that we offered, there was several of them we did, and of course we charge nothing because we want the industry back. We care about the food and beverage industry. I think it's phenomenal. I mean, I started way back in the day in Bellagio. Mark, both of us date ourselves, but we did, and we had a lot of friends along the way. And we're very happy where we're at. And the idea of doing the podcast, I mean, we had an excellent podcast with Michael Politz. That was our first one. And I got the idea from him because it was excellent. Nice little poke to him because he's a great guy. And actually, I enjoyed it. I said, I think we can do this. And Mark agreed. And, our whole approach of this is going to be from A to Z in the food and beverage industry. We're going to have people on that are all different positions. It doesn't matter to us where you work, how you work, what level you worked. We're going to have everyone on from A to Z. It doesn't matter if you're a bartender. It doesn't matter if you're a general manager. We're going to have chefs. We've got quite a bit lined up. Right now, we're waiting for our guest. Could be a little late. It's fine. He's an excellent guy, and it's just going to be a remarkable podcast. I think everyone's going to like this, and, you start out, we're going to have a little bugs to work out, but we're not boring people, right, Mark? We're not boring.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Jimmy, you make sanitation fun.
That's the way you got to do it. I mean, you got to bring people in. I mean, every time I do the class, I always say to them, hey, you know what? This is going to be a food and beverage safety class, but you want to know something? You're going to laugh in this class, especially when I get into the norovirus. I mean, whoever expects that picture, but I think it's going to be well. I think it's going to be really, really, really well. We're not going to have any issues, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. Like Jimmy, like you alluded to before, is we just grown up in Las Vegas, and all of our friends, all of our colleagues, all of our clients, everyone's in the same boat right now. A lot, whether it been its own private business, everyone's in the same boat, and we just, these are our friends, these are our colleagues, these are the people that we need to make sure that are on track, so we can all get on track, and we can just kind of get back to whatever our new generation of service is going to be, and we just don't want to just to survive, but we want to thrive, and we want to get through this. And Las Vegas is always the top of the food chain, and I always thought it was as I was growing up, and the things that I learned, and I think that we're just going to continue that trend and be the ringleaders of the entire nation again.
I think so. Well, you know what, Mark? Always a first thing may happen to us. Our guest is not here, so me and you're going to have to run the show here. Okay, of course. Right. I'm all right. I can talk forever. They say I'm never limited to words. I could, both of us have the gift of gab. What can I say?
Well, Jimmy, why don't you, I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that don't have the resources and looking on Southern Nevada Health District all the time. Is there a bunch of information that you can give our fellow friends out there right now and fellow restaurateurs. Can you kind of maybe give us some points and all these people are opening up and they're opening up sporadically and the information is very sparse and it's coming from all different angles. Can you kind of give us a nice little synopsis of what people should do and what they should look for as they're opening up?
Absolutely. And the first thing
we only got a half an hour, so I'll just keep it.
I know. It's okay. So I don't want to make it so nobody gets bored. If somebody said to me the other day, I don't know if I want to tune in because you're going to just do food safety. And I know you did a good class, but we're not going to do that. That's why we're going to have the guests on. But no, basically what I'm saying is, it's hard. We've noticed that a lot of people out there are nervous. Nobody wants to, jump right into it. We've learned that out there. And I always say the health department's your friend. They're not against you. They want to help you, and there's a great health department out here. I was on the board of health for many years, so I saw what went on the inside, but the relationships are excellent. And I really feel that if you guys follow the guidelines, keep that A grade, you're going to get the business. I feel the business is coming back. I think it will. One person said, "You're optimistic." I says, "No, just wait. We're going to get back. We're going to be strong, and I'm in the inspection world. But I'm part of the food and beverage industry because people hire me to do this. And, I enjoy what I do. But as far as to offer things, the health department has excellent websites, southernnevadahealthdistrict.org. If you go to the resource library, it's in English and Spanish. And I believe there's other languages as well. There's actually the handouts that they have are really superior to a lot of the health department websites throughout the country. They're top dog, and they're willing to help you, from the top person down all the way to food and beverage. We had a conference call with one of my other clients today, and the health department actually got on the conference call and they actually offered information. So they're willing to help everybody out there. So they're not your enemy, and they'll work with you. There are, people who don't actually follow, the guidelines, and they suffer the consequences just like any other situation. But you go on that website, and I think you guys will really enjoy it, and they're out to help you.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you alluded to, you think Las Vegas is going to come back a little bit quicker than we all thought. I'll let you know that I live very close to the airports. I go hiking or walking up in Sunset Park almost once a week, or my bike through there. And for the past 3 months, there was maybe 2 or 3 planes landing every hour. And we were out there. I was out there with my wife and my dog last weekend, and it was like rapid fire again, just planes just coming in. Literally within probably about an hour period, there was maybe 20 planes landing that whole time. So it's really good. I just read something the other day that said that ARIA is slated to open up within the next couple of weeks, when originally they were prognosticating for it not to even be until 2021. So, those little tidbits of news are good to hear and good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people are confused. A lot of people are confused between the gaming board regulations and as far as regardless where you are, and do we fall under the health code? Do we fall under the gaming code? We're getting all these different entities out there, and what's happening is we had to send a little email out from the health department, actually sent to the gaming board that we're in phase 2 now, and of course the gaming board doesn't regulate the health department, but you got to follow whatever regulations are set forth. And I have a lot of accounts in the different casinos, and they have to go by what the casino mandates, because everybody is allowed to make rules more stringent. We were in my wife and I, we were actually Sonia, we were actually out in one of the grocery stores, and they're actually saying to walk in this certain grocery store, you have to wear a mask, and I have nothing wrong with that. And if you don't have it, they'll hand it to you. And I think that's phenomenal, because that's what they want to do. And I don't find anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I think that actually I went to Whole Foods the other day, and they required you to wear a mask. I luckily had one with me, but I don't think that they were letting anyone in otherwise without it. I had to go to the doctors the other day, just the UMC Quick Care, and they had masks at the front door. They were checking my temperature. I had to go to the dentist earlier in the week, and it seems like it was a lot of gray area for a long time, but things are getting very specific and a little bit more well-rounded, right? Whose regulations are you following? You're in the gaming control board. You're the health department. But plus, ultimately, at the end of the day, everyone's in customer service, no matter you're at a grocery store or a restaurant or UMC. It's all customer service at the end. So, I mean, Jimmy, I think we've spoke about this at many of our classes. It's about all making your guests feel nice and warm and fuzzy and comfortable. People have been sitting home for 3 months and listening to social media and listening to the news and it's coronavirus all day long. So what are we going to do to get those people out and make them feel comfortable and make them feel warm and fuzzy? You know, I mean, that's the important thing, because that's what customer service is ultimately all about.
Absolutely. And, it's also, I love this term that I've been saying now, guest perception. And it's like when the guests walk in, they want to see people wash their hands. They want to see the proper hygienic practices. There's a lot going on in our world right now, and it's this coronavirus, COVID-19 is here, norovirus is here. So we have to make sure that we always wash our hands. We got to make sure that we do the right thing, and guests are going to see things like what you do, Mark. I mean, what you promote, wipe those menus down, wipe the POS systems down, the glassware handling, and go into give a little bit of a kick to what you teach a little bit, since we have a couple minutes, because I'm sure our first guest has some technical difficulties, but
yeah, sure, no problem.
We'll put them on another time. That's the way it works.
We got you. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of what we train is, again, and this is what I alluded to at the very beginning, is making the guests feel comfortable, and their perception of walking into the restaurant now is, there's things that people, and let's just look at the restaurant business over the course of the past, 20 years, is all of a sudden it seems like, the implementation of Yelp and TripAdvisor and celebrity chefs and the Food Network is, everyone really seems to know a lot about food nowadays, right? Where maybe even 10 years ago, it wasn't
everybody.
Well, everybody does now, and maybe 10 years ago, they didn't even know anything about it, right, Jimmy?
Oh,
but you know what? That's fine. And the education, and it makes the industry better overall, because, it just makes us step up our game a little bit more. But now, people are becoming health experts all of a sudden. And so the things that people didn't look for before are things that people will look for now. And simple things like fingerprints, it's not going to be required. It's actually very impractical to work in a restaurant as an employee with gloves on, right? Because you handle hot plates, you're touching a lot of dirty things, you're touching clean things, you're touching the bottom of a tray. So how practical is it to have gloves on your hands? Does it make the guests feel more comfortable? Yes, absolutely. But that's not going to change. And just think about yourself now when you're going to a grocery store, you're going somewhere. You don't touch the handles the same way, right? You're not touching the same things that other people are touching. You're keeping your distance. So how's that translating to the restaurants? Let's talk about menus. Jimmy, you talked about menus and POSs. If you want to talk about a normal restaurant, just doing some dumb math, it has 40 menus on hand, and all of a sudden you had to do 200 covers. And if you don't sanitize those menus could have been touched 5 or 6 times by 5 or 6 different people over the course of the evening.
And what's the biggest thing that I always say is the biggest magnet for cross-contamination, what nobody thinks of?
Yeah, well, I'm touching one right here, right now. So,
oh man, there you go. That's it. And a lot of people don't realize that, And hey, look, I do this for a living, but do I actually sanitize my phone every 5 minutes? No, but you got to do it on a regular basis, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and on that menu topic is, I've read a lot of the casinos and a lot of new restaurants. I actually just went to one downtown last weekend that the menu, they didn't even offer any menus. You weren't even given the option to look at a menu. That they actually said, you know what, you have to go ahead and put your QR code right onto your phone, and then it'll pop up the menu right in front of you. I was also at another restaurant 2 days ago where they gave you menus. It was inside the Venetian, and they gave you the menus. And once we were done, they took them. It was one-time use, and they threw it in the garbage right away. So, are there systematic things that we have to figure out? Yes, absolutely. How are people going to watch them? Is it practical for the end of time to throw away a menu every single time or ask people to do their QR code? I mean, that's part of selling your restaurant and selling your brand. This big menu and the nice font and the good warm fuzzy feeling when you're sitting down and getting yourself acclimated. But for the time being, we're going with the QR codes. We're pulling up menus online. I saw another restaurant's opening up this week, and they're doing chalkboards all throughout the whole menu. So all throughout the whole restaurant. So it's all about adapting and surviving. Are we not going to not have any restaurants because of this? No, we just have to adapt and continue to improve ourselves.
No, exactly. And, it's pointed out, I'm seeing a couple little comments here and there from people, and one of the health department inspectors are on, and they said, good point. Push that changing glove usage, make sure that everybody does the hand washing properly. You got to have that proper hygienic practices. And like I always say, you have to, we have a mask now. Okay. And, people are going to be wearing masks. And when you have that mask on, you got to treat it like gloves. You got to go above and beyond, because when you change that mask and you put the new mask on, you got to make sure that you wash your hands. I mean, it's the same deal. There's people that are your mask, you're going to sneeze. Okay, whether it's in the health code or not, you got to think of the perception out there, and you got to think of the proper hygienic practices that are associated with the gloves. It's the same thing. Treat it the same way, and you won't have any issues, because I don't think it's going to go away for a while. I think, we got to treat it the way it's here. COVID-19 is here. Norovirus is here, and we have to deal with it. We have to have our protocols in place. We have to make sure they're up to date. We have to check the health department website. Don't be afraid to ask your inspector questions. There's a lot of people, Mark, that are out there, and they're getting an inspection and they get scared. Oh my God, the inspector's here. What am I going to do? And they scramble. But what the whole issue is, you're scrambling either because, number one, you're doing something behind the scenes that's probably not correct. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or number two, you may just not know and you're afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Okay. Make sure you go out there and ask. They're not going to sit there and say, hey, that's it. I'm failing you because you're asking me a question. They're here to help you. And that's when I do my services. I do the same thing. You have to be able to do that. If you don't do it, it's not going to work right for you, because the guest perception, people have eyes. Forget the health department for a second. People have eyes, because, I walk into a place and I'm looking, and because, maybe I know this, but I walk in and I'm looking at the grade card. Where's the grade card? It's missing. Okay. Well, there's an app on your phone that you can use, which is called Southern Nevada Health Department A grades. And I'm going to pick that app up and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, oh, wow, check this out. I'm going to hit the button, right? And there it is. Well, guess what, Mark? We have the guest, and I'm going to tell you, hey, you know what? Great guy. And I'm telling you, everybody stay tuned. This guy is phenomenal. I know I gave you guys a little hint, fish out of water, but I'm going to tell you, as far as bartenders, and as long as I know this man, he is phenomenal. He has knowledge that's second to none in the industry. I think everyone's going to enjoy him. And this is my buddy. This is a good guy. And if you guys who don't know him, his name, what's your name, sir? I forgot your name. I don't know who you are. What's your name?
Eric Snyder.
What's your name? Where are you?
Eric Snyder.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. What's your name? I don't know who you are.
My name's Eric.
There he is. Okay. You know what I want to know, Eric? Before you talk about yourself, you got a nickname. Where did you get the nickname Fish?
I have to give away a secret that I haven't given to anybody in the history of the 38 years I've been in this business. I'm going to do it live right now on Jimmy V Live.
There you go. That's why you're the first dude, man.
You want to hear the story?
Why not? Right, Mark? You want to hear it?
Oh, by the way, I think we get something owed to us.
You don't know Mark. That's Mark Steele. That's Eric Snyder.
What's going on, Eric? How are you? Welcome.
Pleasure to meet you also, Mark. Great. A lot of great things about you. I grew up by the beach. I was always in the water as a kid. And my mother would say, where's your brother? And he said, yeah, the kid's always in the water. We can't get him out. She goes, he's like a fish, this kid. So that was it. And my mom started calling me Fish, and that's how I got the name Fish. That simple.
Well, it seemed like a natural progression to come here in the middle of the desert then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I still yearn for that water, Mark. I got my family's all back in California, my brothers. So when I get a chance, I go back and I hit the surf, and there's some kind of wonderful serenity about the beach. If they could put gaming machines in Santa Monica by the ocean, we'd all move there.
Hey, they did it in Florida. Yeah. They did it in Florida, not by the ocean, but they got all those Indian reservations. They have, I forgot who's out there, but they're doing it down there. Hey, you know what? You never know, right?
No, you don't. You can always dream, buddy.
So Mark, one second, Mark. Eric, let me hear what you're doing, man. Let the people know who you are and what you do, man. Where are you at now? I think the knowledge you have is not only with the health department, you can get into that a little bit, but who are you and what do you do so the people who don't know?
Well, I believe I want to say around July 17th will be my 39th year
Oh man.
bartending in the bar industry. I started when I was going to college at the University of Texas. You could drink when you're 18 years old there. And the bottom line is, I was bar backing one night. Actually, the first night I was bar backing, the bartender got in a fight with the manager. He gets fired. The gal says, "You're up," and that started it. And I've been in the business ever since basically 1982. And I've been in the nightclub business, and I've been in the gaming industry now about 27 years. And I love it. It's a chance for me to spew my knowledge and my comedy and whatever I have. And I just love being around people. So
That's excellent. That's excellent, man. That's great. And what are you doing now?
Well, I'm over at Chuck's Tavern, North Durango in Las Vegas. I was with Steve and Bob, the owners at the Montana Meat Company, their sister store. It's a steakhouse for 13 and a half years. And I moved over to the fish concept. And I'm just bartending right now. I'm not managing. And it's just fantastic. I'm back to my roots, dealing with people, having fun, and trying to ride this wave out, no pun intended. I mean, I'm going to be 60 years old this year, boys. And if I could do this another 10 years, then it's surfing full time.
And I know you're happy about your Raiders coming to town.
Well, that's amazing. I got season tickets. I'm one of the few guys, Mark, that has season tickets in LA, in Oakland, and now in Las Vegas. And I have mixed emotions about it. Actually, I mean, I might piss a lot of people off, but I love the crowds up in Oakland, Jimmy. They were very, very loyal. And I'm concerned how many people bought tickets down here that want to sell them. But I think it's wonderful for the city. It's great to have pro football, and it's going to do a lot for the commerce and especially after this pandemic, bring people to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And Mark, check this out. I remember one time, okay, I'm in there, and Sonia and I regularly visit when Eric was at Montana. What happened was, we'd go in there all the time, and he'd ask me questions. And this is before I had the account, because we used to go there regularly with Sonia and I. And we'd walk in there, and we'd look, and I'd look around, and Eric would say to me, "What do you see? What do you see? Let me know what you see." The man knew before I even had a chance to say. He knew what the violations were. Yeah, that's his knowledge. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, let me ask this, Eric. So you guys have been open for about just over a week now. Are you open? You're back behind the bar?
I am.
Yes. So can you kind of give us a sense of how things are different from 3 months ago to this past week? What is the guest mentality? Are you seeing more regulars? Are you seeing no people who have never come in before? What's like the sense of people who haven't been out yet to go eat, or people who are sitting at a bar now, right? Or the gambling? What is that? What component is that? Give us a little synopsis of before and afterwards.
Well, before it was normalcy, and now we're in what's quote the new adage, the new normal. But I will tell you this, Mark and Jimmy, that it was just a sense of relief to go back to work and see the same faces and new faces, and people were happy to be back and going out. It was a 72-day lockdown for me since March 17th, when basically this town came to a halt. So when I went back, and we were open for gaming last Wednesday. We had opened for dine-in service about a week before that, but with the true gaming coming back, which is also part of our concept, it was just great. And we were busy, and people were cognizant of the social distancing. People had questions, like we have to go every other machine and please, and it's hard for me, being the background I have, an ethnic background of not wanting to hug people, but you can't hug anybody. we have to wear masks. We have to wear gloves. And I think people were appreciative that we're open, and too appreciative that we're following the rules of social distancing, all the guidelines that we have to adhere to. We're doing it, and I'm not just saying that word of mouth. It's great, and the main thing that I was nervous about is how people are going to react to that, and it was positive.
Awesome. Are people making up for lost time, drinking and gambling?
Oh yeah. I hear a lot of people. It's funny to say that.
And tipping.
Yeah, absolutely. People are very gracious. I have to say that the tipping has been unreal in the first week, and I've talked to a lot of bartenders and a lot of establishments around town, and they feel the same way. It's been awesome, the response. People have been very, very, they're just appreciative we're back, and they're very passionate about the fact that we've been gone for a long time, and they know our industry, Mark, got hit the hardest of anyone. I mean, this town's a hospitality industry, and we got crushed. So that was great. The other thing is, I notice I'm walking my dog every day with my wife, and I'm saying, how come so many people are doing home improvements in their house? And I see rock outside and landscaping, because people that were working had no place to spend their money, you know? So now the people that lived in apartments or didn't have that, they have a ton of money. Here's the bottom line. I'm seeing people that had so much to gamble before when it's normal, they got more to gamble. They're not going to the ATM machine because they got it in their pocket.
Well, you know what? It's very funny you say that, because one thing that I'll give it away to everybody. One thing that I say to the wife, I probably said it to her 6-7 times. When we were going out all the time before the pandemic, I remember, you know, I went out and got some money and we're going to go gamble. Everybody likes to push the button. We live in Vegas. What are you going to do, right? You play a little bit of Keno. You do what you got to do. Try to get your royal. And I said, you know what, honey? I still got the same $300 in my pocket. She looked at me like I was going to get slapped. But that's just, you know, it is what it is. It's the truth, you know. But you think we're not going to do it? Of course we are. You know, it's fun. You know, you got to have some type of recreation. You know, as long as you don't spend your mortgage, I think you'll be okay.
It's part of the economy.
I saw a thing real quick. I saw a thing because, you know, when you're home a lot, you got a million honeydews. I mean, my God, I learned how to fix more stuff. If I couldn't fix it, I went on Google and YouTube to fix it. But I watched, I can't remember what network I was watching, but it was a guy that was on, and he was talking about how important restaurants and bars are to the cultural system of the United States. If you think about it, I met my wife in a bar, and think about where you go to bring your family to have social experiences. If you have a family, you bring your kids. Jimmy's brought his beautiful family in a restaurant a million times. I know I've watched his kids grow up. Restaurants and bars are vital to the constitution of this country as far as socialization. So to have them back eases a lot of the tensions, I believe, and will continue to ease the tensions that's going on right now. We get past this pandemic and the next surge, you know, we're going to have a great fall.
I believe
Eric, where do you like to go eat? Where's your go-to restaurants around town?
Well, I don't want to talk about any of the competitions in this thing. You know what I really like? I might have talked Jimmy into this one time. There's a Mexican restaurant, the southwest side of town. Basically, it's off Flamingo and Grand Canyon. It's called Frank and Fina's. Oh, that's a one.
Yeah.
Are you familiar, guys?
Oh yeah.
I'm very familiar. I've been
That's
going
a mom and pop joint that I heard the history is it's now their house on Charleston. And if you walk in there, the two sons are twins. They're the waiters. The dad still runs a kitchen, so it's a mom and pop joint. And I'm glad they made it through this thing. So that's one of my favorite restaurants. You know, I won't lie to you. I mean, I eat I'm working so many nights. I eat most of my food at Chuck's or Montana Meat. So I get good steaks, and I'm not trying to kiss ass on that. I eat in their restaurants.
True, 100% true.
Say again, please.
It's 100% true. You're 100% accurate.
Jimmy Mark has been a loyal customer for years. And he started out by saying that I know stuff, you know, in the industry about protocol with the health department, because I got a guy like him that comes in and he's a great customer first, and we talk sports, and he's in there all the time, and he's gracious to the employees and the staff there. But Jimmy is the one guy I can go to and say, Jimmy, look at this pipe behind the bar above the drain. Is that enough inches to pass me? This and that. Not only does he give me, you know, what the actual, you know, rules are, but he's one step ahead. Like, this is what we're looking for the next time. Like, hey, Eric, be careful. Next time there could be a new rule saying that you can't wear a ring or a wristwatch because it can cause sweat or something like that. So yeah, that's called a friend looking out. You know, that's why JVC is so popular and everyone knows this guy. I mean, Jimmy, who sounds like Joe Pesci, is a Joe Pesci because he can go anywhere and you're buying this guy a drink. Trust me. Because he's going to give you the vital information. If not, off with your goddamn head.
I think most of the time Jimmy likes to give you all the health information because he doesn't like to talk about sports because he's a Jets fan.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. You know what? I got to say,
he changes subjects right away.
There's one thing. You can see who I have behind me right now. Yeah, okay, I got a winning team behind me. But one thing I got to say about the Jets, and Eric can tell you, there's one statement I say every single year at the beginning of the season. And I can't tell you what's going to happen at the end. We're undefeated, right? That's it. First game, I can say we're undefeated. Then whatever happens, happens. But I do have a winning team behind me in hockey. So, hey, there you go.
Don't get
You
offensive.
got to realize the Raiders have had 17 of their last 18 years have been losing seasons.
Wow.
So Vegas got lucky. The Knights go into their first year, they go to the Stanley Cup. The city is getting a team that next to the Browns have had the most losses in the NFL the last 2 decades. Maybe it'll turn around with the new atmosphere. If you got time, I got a great Jets story about Jimmy. Jimmy comes in there one time with his beautiful wife, Sonia, and the Jets are playing. It's a Thursday night game, and he's sitting at the bar and he's watching the game. And the Jets are playing like the Jets. And he's looking at me and he goes, they don't want it. They don't want it. I go, Jimmy, just scored a touchdown. They don't want it. They don't want it. Well, the Jets come back and win. I go, Jimmy, what did I tell you? He goes, I told you I win all the time. Hey, it's tough. Jimmy, what I'm trying to tell you is I feel I'm in your boat. I feel for you. We both have teams that have struggled the last few years. And I think you're on the upswing with Sam Darnold. And I think that the Raiders in this new stadium, maybe the new culture of Vegas and a new fan base will re-energize them. And like I said, onward and upward.
Oh yeah, and and don't get me wrong. When we go out, Sonia and I and the kids, and if we go to an arena, you know that I got my eyes on. You know that I'm looking to see how everybody's doing the food and beverage safety. It's hard to turn it off. You can ask any inspector out there. They'll say we shut it off. Nobody shuts it off because it's in your blood, and I'm sure Mark happens to Mark too all the time, And Eric, I'm sure you go out and you see bartenders do certain things and you say, you know what? You got to keep, you got to, if I know them, I'll say something. If I don't, I'll just, keep cool. But no, we all go through that. And, it's wonderful. But with that, guys, because I don't want to make this go forever because we can talk forever. We're going to have you on again. Absolutely, Eric. But there is one question that Mark wants to ask everybody at the end, and I'll leave it to Mark. So, Mark, go right for your last question.
All right. Well, now it's like really like pumped up here. So, Eric, we want to ask everybody, tell us your best Las Vegas story. It sounds like you've been in Las Vegas for a while. We all know that Las Vegas has got a lot of crazy things and crazy times. Give us your best story, whether it be personally, professionally, gambling. Just tell us something that people wouldn't believe unless they actually lived here.
We opened up Montana Meat on March 23rd of 2005. And it's the first Friday night we're open, Mark. Jimmy, you'll love this. And I'm bartending and I'm managing, and it's packed. It's packed. And we got a ton of people in the restaurant. We got a 45-minute wait to get in the joint. Now, you got to understand, Montana Meat is surrounded by car agencies. Mm-hmm. And some hot-looking couple comes in and sits at the end of the bar, and they're having drinks. They're not really gambling, but I can see the chemistry's there, right? And I kind of know the guy. I met the guy when we were going through our VIP stuff, and he came in. He's got a suit on. Kind of imagine if an actor, he looks like Ryan Gosling. And the girl is this beautiful blonde, just statuesque. They're having a couple martinis. They're really hitting it off. All of a sudden, she goes to the bathroom. Okay, fine. He goes to the bathroom. I see they're both not coming out. So I told the bartender with me, keep an eye on the bar. I'm going to go check what's going on. I go in the men's room, right? I'll keep this as PG as possible. Nothing in there. I go in the women's room, and she's on the counter, and the guy's going at it. And they both look at me and go, what are you doing? Can't you see we're busy?
Oh, man. Only you, man. Only you.
It's one of my funniest stories. You know what? 38 years in this business, Mark, I could tell you 1,000 stories and made 1,000 friends. And that's the greatness of being in this business. And any bartender will tell you, every day you go to your job, you get to meet new people and talk to them and make new friends. And it's phenomenal. Not many people can say that in their industry, that they get a chance to meet new people every single day.
And that's what it's all about, Eric. And that's why I'm very happy that you're our first inaugural, I can't believe it, inaugural guest on this first episode, because I know you have a lot of knowledge, and where you work is phenomenal people, and we've been there very, very, very often, and it's excellent. And everybody, go and see Eric over there at Chuck's. Your shift, Eric?
I'm working Wednesday through Saturday graveyard. I love it. Midnight to 8. It's just me, a cook, and you. And we have a great time, and it's phenomenal.
Eric, thank you very, very much. It was our pleasure having you on. It was phenomenal. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'd love to come on again. I'm really happy you guys are doing this, and it's a great concept. And I'm honored you had me as your first guest, guys.
I think for the inaugural guest, you're going to get a watch so you can be on time next time.
I was on time. I thought it was 2. What time? Was it 2:30?
It's okay. We made sure that we waited for you, man. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It actually was great because I knew you would be here. All right, Eric. Have a good one, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Eric.
Unbelievable, Mark, huh? We got the first
great.
one under the belt, man. I think it's great. We got the first one under the belt. And next week, we're going to even have somebody that's going to be real special, too. And maybe you know her. It's a lady. Or maybe you don't. But there's going to be a lot of good stories and a lot of good fun with that. And maybe we'll give you a hint or two, you know, of what we do as far as give you a little tip here and there. And I think we're going to have a good time. But I think it's a good inaugural first episode.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jimmy. So, yeah, guys, if you want to check out what we do in our classes, you know, we alluded to that in the first 10 minutes. Please go check out our website, RH Institute. It's scrolling on the bottom right now. If you called that phone number, it will go right to my phone right next to me. But check out our new classes. We're excited about them. We're excited to help out the community. We got a lot of other things in the works, and yeah, this is going to be fun. Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me too, you can see the banners going on the bottom there, our insignia and all. You guys know I do food and beverage safety. Man, I've been doing this since 2008. So it's been fun, and we love our food and beverage industry. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time, next Tuesday, same time. Okay? Thank you guys. Bye-bye.